Welcome to Chuck's Guitar Geekery. Today is a video I've been excited to do for a while, ever since I saw this product announced. It finally showed up stateside, so M-Vave MK300. If you've been around my channel for a little while, you know I'm a big fan of their And Black Box, the little 2-button thingamajigger. Also their Tank G, the 4-button thingamajigger. Now they have a more full-featured, full-sized multi-effects, amp modeling, all sorts of solutions in one, so lots to get into here. I'm not going to get through every single feature because there are 80 amp models you can have saved in here. There's 100 IRs you can have saved in here, guitar and bass. I'm going to do a whole separate video going through the bass stuff. So it also does some looping. It's got some drum beats in it. I will do a separate video on that too, because quite frankly, I just haven't figured out how to control those yet. So like and subscribe. First complaint, I guess, on that note is, yeah, the owner's manual really doesn't tell you a whole lot. So I've been pushing buttons on here and I figured some stuff out. So also I have a Patreon, and part of that Patreon and part of the whole M-Vave ecosystem here is they have their own amp capture modeling system where you can create your own captures. And on my Patreon, that is part of the $3 tier. So I've been doing both Tonex and M-Vave. They have both AM2 data and AM3 data. I'm working the AM2 data just because my computer will not run AM3 for some reason. So if you join my Patreon at that tier, $3 a month, you get at least one capture a week, sometimes multiple. So this week, I'll throw it in here. There's going to be a full video coming on this pedal later, but Love Pedal JTM going into this PV Classic 30. That's what you heard soloing there. So I'm just going to get into some sounds. So this is a third-party IR from the Tone Junkies, which is also a free IR. I'll have that linked below, but I'm not going to give theirs away. And then this is a capture that will be on my Patreon this week. So this is the sound you heard at the beginning there, and I'll go through how the preset was kind of set up. And as you can see here, you can have up to 160 presets. So a lot going on here. I'll get more into the ins and outs of the features, but you don't want to hear me talk. This is the sound you heard at the beginning there. Okay, so how I have this preset set up. First, the amp is this capture I did, which it also comes with an app called M-EFCS. So this can all be controlled via app on your phone. So you can download other people's captures. They also have their whole community part of the app where people have free captures out there, and that is growing more and more each day. So it's not quite where Tonex is, but it's getting there. But this is the amp I have set up. Gain's about halfway up, levels where it is. I have the bass down a little bit. And what I have found sounds best when you're trying to get into a mix with these captures is turn the mids up and the treble down. Because I think the mids are set at around 2 kilohertz and high is set around 4 kilohertz, and the 2 just seems to sit in a mix better. Yeah, let's turn that delay off. So I have a compressor on here, and I actually have the compressor hitting the front of it pretty hard. But the compressor also has some noise gate in it, so that's interesting. Let's turn the gain back a little bit. Then you can use the compressor like a boost. And there's several different compressors in here. You can change the pitch, you can have octave, you can have a ring modulator at the beginning here. You have auto on there. There's lo-fi. there's just a plain boost. But I find the compressor to be the most pleasing boost in all the M-Vave stuff. Makes it feel more natural. So then the cab, this is one I uploaded from Tone Junkies, we know it. Let's try some of the stock cabs they have in here. Let's see what we have, like a vintage 30 or something like that. A whole bunch of bass stuff in here, some Fender. Whole bunch of Fender stuff. Let's see what Mesa Boogie cabs sound like. This is what comes stock. You can store up to 100 cabs in here. I'm not going to go through every single cab. That would take way too long, but I prefer this third-party IR here. But having said that, the built-in ones aren't bad. Let's see what other delays are in here. You have clean, that's probably just a standard digital type delay. Modern, I'm not sure what makes it modern. I'm guessing this is like Echoplex type. Analog. Then that's tap tempo for all of this. You got duck. You got D-type. So delay with a tremolo on it. Delay with a filter. Dual. Lo-fi. A pattern. Ice. All sorts of craziness. Let's just stick with analog here. There's that. Yeah, modulation. All sorts of modulation. Always love a univibe. Let's see what we can do here. And the cool thing about the modulation is it does have a mix control in there. So you can move the effects blocks around. And honestly, most modulations, if there is not a mix control, I prefer it before the amp. But if there is a mix control, I prefer it after. Opto vibrato. Tri vibrato. And reverb, you got room, you got shimmer, hall, plate, bloom, cloud, lo-fi, swell. Yeah, something like that. I always go for a spring, and the cool thing about it is it does have a high pass. Which, having a high pass, it kind of takes the high end out of the reverb, and that's when you want a reverb that's more felt than heard. If you want more of a surf thing, that'll do that. Anyways, so this is a capture I did for this amp. Let's turn that reverb back a little bit. So there's also a distortion module in here, so let me save that. Let's go back. I want to say it's here. So this is a capture I did of this Classic 30 kind of on a crunchy setting. Now I'm going to hit it with a fuzz pedal. This is kind of a tone bender fuzz pedal. I do believe I have this set up. You can have these foot switches control different things. Which I did not have that set up for. So the foot switches, you can have each knob and foot switch control different things. So you can have these set to control certain things. You can have these foot switches set to control certain things. You can have the expression pedal control certain things, and then it also has an output for another expression pedal. So there is some deep diving you can do. I am not going to do that right now because that will take a long time. So let's set up a preset from nothing here. So let's start with a cab. Let's go with a let's go with a Marshall. I always turn low cut at least up around there, high cut somewhere around there. Now let's find an amp. Let's go with a Vox style. Ooh. Sounds like a Vox going into greenback. Let's get a spring reverb, let's turn the mix down, high cut down. There's all that. And I like having the compressor on pretty much all the time, because it just makes these feel a lot better. I don't know if it really affects the sound so much. So there's that. Let's see what. Yeah, you can have two different compressors going on here. You could switch between them if you want two different levels. You know, let's go and turn the gate on. Oh, that's the distortion. Let's add a little more attack back in. Compression there. Now let's play with some overdrive pedals. So the way their naming system is, if it's an overdrive, it has OD. There's a lot of them. You got a Klon style. So many of them. So many of them. You got a rat. All sorts of them. Then you get into distortions. Which I'm not exactly in a completely clean amp, but that is what it is. Let's go down to some fuzzes. I like fuzzes. So this is like a tone better type fuzz. And it's close to a fuzz face and then a big muff style. And you get some bass ones, you got some more OD, a lot of bass overdrives. It begins with a B, that's bass. So there's all that. Let's just leave it on a Klon style. So like I said, there's so many sounds in here, it would take me all day to get through all of them, so I'm not going to do that. But there's a lot to be had here. There's all the different modulations. You could set this up in a way so you can have each of these foot switches. You can have, say, this foot switch turning on and off your distortion pedal, this foot switch turning on and off a boost. There's also an EQ block, so you could use EQ as like a lead boost, or if you just want a different tone shaping there. And then you can have this set up to be a wah pedal, which quite frankly, I haven't quite figured out how to get it to do that. So their owner's manual really is kind of lacking in a lot of areas. I will figure that out, but so many options. Let's just go through some more of the captures I've done, because why not? Where did I have them saved? There you go. So this is like a Crowther hotcake into the PB Classic 30. Now let's check out some of the other ones I have. There's clean ones in here. Here's another hot cake. This is of my Epiphone Valve Jr. So the way their naming system is set up is it'll be CL if it's clean. And the volumes are kind of all over the place. Bass ones in here. Like I said, there's 80 different amps you could have saved in here. So my favorite so far is my own capture of that Love Pedal JTM. So let me do a little more of the features, the ins and outs of this. So it has stereo XLR outs with a ground lift built in. That's very important when you're playing live in different venues and different PA systems. That's 2/4 inch out. And those can be configured a couple different ways. So it can be just both of them are stereo going out, or it can be set up so the left side is the full signal with the cab, IR, everything on it. The right side takes the cab, IR off, and you can have front of house getting a mono full signal of a good IR, everything. And the other side can get sent to the effects return of an amp on stage, and you get to have, it feels like a real rig at that point. That's how I've set up modelers in the past, and that feature is great. It could also be set up where the one side is fully affected signal and the other one is completely dry signal. So you could send that to a completely whole other different rig if you want to get crazy with it. It also has USB, and you can record all those the same way, and what that does is you can record it so it goes to 2 separate tracks. You get the affected signal and you can monitor hearing it, but then you also have a dry signal you could reamp later, and this will work with reamping. And the way this works with their M-EFCS app is you don't have to actually have this connected to a computer. I mean, the only time you have to do that is if you want to update the firmware. Otherwise, everything else can be done through the phone app. So that's a plus. It's got a rechargeable built-in battery. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but they say it'll last up to 10 hours. We'll see. It's also got headphone out. It's got Bluetooth in. It does all sorts of stuff. So anyways, like and subscribe. I have my Patreon. I have a whole bunch of captures that will work with this on my Patreon, $3 a month tier. You get all those captures. I also have some packs that are just for sale up there in the shop on the Patreon, so you can look through those if there's just a certain thing that you want. But every week there's at least one new capture for both that I work on both this and Toe Necks. Then the backing jam tracks, that's $2 a month. So I will have an affiliate link to Amazon for this. There's a few of them stateside. I think they're more prevalent internationally than in the US. So anyways, I'll probably do some additional videos. I'll do a separate one for all the bass guitar sounds, and I will do a separate one for like the looping and drum features. That's it for this week. See y'all later.